Hey friends, I have a few different things in my mind, and where do I start? One is it's a meta thought about having a few different things on your mind, and at some level, my experience writing a lot has taught me, or I think I've learned from writing a lot that you should try and pick one specific thing to talk about in any piece of content. Like if you're writing, so I learned this from writing my 1000 word romance project, where once you've written like 200, 300 pieces of writing, and each piece kind of has multiple things in it without any one singular backbone, one singular thing running through it, it gets overwhelming to process it in retrospect, like trying to go back and look and just move, like kind of figure out what you have is difficult because it's all over the place and it isn't well organized. But at the same time, I feel like maybe that's something that you only develop with practice, and early on when you're starting out you should just kind of ramble freestyle, because I feel like if I'm trying to pick one topic to talk about, I feel less motivated to make a video. I feel that there's something that I don't know if that's true. I could be misdiagnosing, but like I do think that I have kind of raised the standard or the bar for myself a little bit too high when making these videos. So now I'm reminded of the flow diagram of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Mihaly C, the guy who came out with Flow. There's this diagram of like excitement, boredom, arousal. If it's not exciting enough, you're bored, but if it's way too exciting, you get anxious because you're out of your control. It's about like how challenging the thing is, how much skill you have, and you want to kind of be operating, surfing at the edge of your skill, right? You don't want to be in over your head. Same for when you're working out or whatever, right? You want to be lifting a weight that is challenging but it's not freaking killing you, and you might get injured, right? And yeah, I'm thinking about a bunch of things. I'm thinking about being online for a long period of time. I'm just reflecting on that, the fact that I have been writing a blog and having a website for like 20 years now, and tweeting over 100,000 tweets, probably 153 or 154,000 tweets at this point, and writing a book, writing a second book, and just all this volume, right? It's so much. And how do you stay motivated? How do you stay interested? How do you keep things interesting for yourself? How do you have fun, right? And a thing that I've been doing recently is populating my history persons project. So I have a public Rome, you can look it up, and I'm self-conscious that the lighting is showing that my forehead is bumpy. Videos, man. Whatever. Public Rome history project, where basically what I do is I go on Wikipedia. I'm like logging my Wikipedia rabbit holes. So what I do is I one of the projects that I have for myself, which is like a private, I mean not private because it's public, but it's a personal pet project, like a thing I'm doing for fun. It's just trying to learn as much history as I can and read as much as I can. And obviously you need some kind of, well, is it obvious? It's not everything's obvious to people, but like what seems obvious to me is that you should direct your curiosity tied up with something that's relevant to you. And the thing that's relevant to me that I'm curious about is how do you make scenes happen? How do you create public intellectuals and groups of public intellectuals, and how do you just make the future happen, right? How do you just advance culture and make things more exciting and fun and active and interesting? And so I'm looking up famous writers, famous scientists, famous just influential people in history, right? And I'm looking up their life stories. I'm looking up what is this person famous for? And it's interesting, you spot patterns. There are you can study. So a thing that I'm almost nervous to write about, but I don't mind saying in a video, is that I believe you can reverse engineer what it takes to be like a so-called great man of history. And again, I don't know if people say great man means like a political actor or something, but I mean like take someone like Virginia Woolf or someone like I don't know, Neil Tyson, just someone with a Wikipedia page, I guess, right? Someone who crosses that threshold of public notability in some way, which again is probably disputed depending on who you're talking about. But I believe that any intelligent person, again, what would you mean by intelligence? But like any person who's kind of moderately thoughtful, sensitive, courageous, and willing to put in the work, especially in our media age, right? If you're persistent and you are resourceful and you kind of study what people have done, you can do the same thing. I believe this to be true. So when I have done it, right, I'm about to cross like 3,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm at 31,000 Twitter followers. I do believe I will eventually cross 10K, definitely 50K, maybe 100K is possible. I think YouTube subscribers. I mean, it's just a matter of time and interactions, volume of output, interactions with individuals, increasing quality of content, increasing. So, I'm not going to get to 100,000 subscribers making these videos of myself talking on the phone for 10 minutes, but I am practicing speaking. That's the real thing that I'm trying to do. And when I get better at this, when I make like another 300, 400, 500 of these videos, when I then go on to make super polished, like 3-minute videos with cinematics and lighting and using my nicer camera, which I've used sometimes, that will blow up, right? And I'm talking to people all the time. I'm building relationships with people. So it's like, it seems inevitable to me. And so I'm also studying, Emerson and Wordsworth, Coleridge, like all these people in history who have their Wikipedia pages for being influential. They have patterns, right? They are famous for, I've noticed that a lot of them are ex-ministers, like, and it makes sense when you think about it. Like Emerson was a minister, Alan Watts was a minister, and what do ministers do? They preach and they have sermons and they speak to people regularly. And one thing that does is it builds relationships. Another thing that does is it gets you comfortable speaking with practice, and it gets you thinking about yourself in relation to an audience and how that audience relates to society or the context that you're in. And you get used to speaking on behalf of people, and people to share their views with you, and then you internalize that, you integrate that, right? I find that when you look at politicians, some are like politicians who seem to be tuned in. They are the curious people who talk to a lot of their constituents and get to know their constituents' problems intimately. The more intimately you understand your constituents' problems, the more kind of sharp you are as a politician, because you know who you're speaking for and what is going on in your district, right? And I'm just kind of fired up. And I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about was just what are my next 100 videos going to be about? No, not even that. How do I get to the point where I'm making a video every day and I don't feel like it's a waste of my time? That's not quite right, the framing either. I know that making videos is one of the best things I can do with my time, and yet sometimes I don't do it. And I'm trying to investigate why. I think, in the moment, it just seems difficult. Maybe like there's some threshold that I'm not crossing. So tweeting is very easy for me. I can fire off hundreds of tweets effortlessly, it seems. Blog posts take a little bit more effort, and I haven't felt compelled to write blog posts recently because I think just having access to Twitter as a medium, it's just such a higher, it's so much quicker to get responses from people. And if I have something more elaborate that I want to walk people through, then I can expand on that. And yeah, there's something for me to think there about different modes, different mediums, how I want to engage with people, and and it's also about what best represents the ideas, right? Like I do long Twitter threads, and past like 6-7 tweets, like a thread that long is probably better as a blog post, because it's just it depends on how you want to be engaged with and how you want to present the idea. If you want that idea to spread, it probably works better as a blog post that people can email around with each other, because there are people who are not on Twitter who don't like to read Twitter threads or are not familiar with navigating that stuff. I mean, even I myself, I think sometimes I know that I have some threads that are really kind of substantial, and yet I don't necessarily enjoy referencing them because it's just something about the user experience. And I'm trying to keep my videos short. It's been 10 minutes. I'll go on for like another minute maybe. Now let's just wrap it up. I'm trying to persuade myself, and not like force myself, but persuade myself to make a video every day, because I think that practicing is, I need the practice. I want practice. I want to get good at this. And it's like every day that I don't publish a video, or currently my heuristic is something like every time I hit 100 views on one video, I publish the next one, and that's gonna move faster and faster. But like it's just every day that I don't publish a video, it's like I'm wasting the opportunity to receive feedback from people about what's working and what's not. So my rate of learning slows down. And I know that with Twitter, for example, I guess, like when I get to some scale, I look back and I realize, and I kind of wish that I went harder, earlier, faster, sooner. And like I get to live that right now with my YouTube channel, where I'm definitely sure that every day that I'm not making a video, I mean, so this isn't like a hustle and grind thing where, gotta be working fucking hard or whatever, but it's just, it's fun. So like I could be having more fun. But again, I don't think I need to put pressure on myself for this. I think I just need to keep it an awareness and revisit it playfully. We'll see how it goes. Hope you guys are doing well. Done.